Hello, everyone. I get the gift of introducing someone you already know, so we won't have to go into her entire bio because this is Dr. Irene, and we're already all together, so we don't have to discuss who she is anymore. But what we do get the joy of discussing is what she's going to bring us today. So she's going to bring us the 3 SOS tools that have made a huge difference in her life and in the lives of thousands of others. I have heard some of this, but I am so excited to hear the whole thing in one session. We get that today. Dr. Irene, thank you for sharing with us. This is going to be powerful. I'm excited to hear the 3 SOSs and how they work and why. Hit it.
Thanks so much, Celeste. So I want to start off by saying, so what are SOS tools? So SOS tools, because we are global, so want to explain for somebody who doesn't know what SOS is, was the old term. It literally stood for save our souls. And it was an old mariner's term when if a ship was in trouble, they would send out this Morse code of SOS, and all the ships in the area would know that that ship was in trouble and please come save us because we're going down, kind of thing. Right. So that's the idea between SOS tools. It's what do I need right now to save me? And the reason why we're talking about it in terms of trauma is that when you are in trauma mode, which is also survival mode, even if your trauma happened decades ago, it can still be impacting you neurologically at an unconscious level and at a physical level. And it's like your nervous system is scarred. And so the nervous system that keeps running, and it's like it's stuck in high gear, is your survival nervous system, your sympathetic nervous system. It's what gets you ready to fight or to run or to freeze or to faint, whatever your hardwired stress response is. And the thing is, it is physiologically impossible to be in trauma or survival mode and healing mode at the same time, because healing mode belongs to a different part of the nervous system. The healing mode belongs to the parasympathetic nervous system. And you might have heard of the rest and digest. Well, it's not just rest and digest, it's healing, right? Why? Because when you are in danger, your life is in danger, all of the resources go to keeping you alive. That's all that matters, right? Because if you don't live in this second or in the next second, it's not going to matter what happens 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. There won't be a down the road. So all of the resources, and we want it this way, right? So in other words, if we're faced with a saber-toothed tiger looking us up and down as their next meal, or bear, right? That is the time where we need all of those resources, just hyper-focused. That is the power of the sympathetic nervous system, right? To keep you alive. The challenge is, as I said, that when we are if we have not truly healed from past trauma, and that includes trauma that you may not even recognize, right? So go back and listen to our last talk about this, about the 3 hidden levels of trauma, right? In other words, you very likely, even though this is a trauma summit, you may have trauma. You likely have trauma that you're not even aware of, right? And that is impacting you physically, mentally, emotionally, and it's keeping you stuck in trauma mode, even if you don't think you are. So the rest and digest part of it is when, okay, it's like, whoo, like in the animal kingdom, a gazelle has managed to get away from a lion and left the lion behind, hopefully, and it's like, oh, okay, survived that one, right? It doesn't sit there like we humans do and go, oh my goodness, did you see how big that lion was talking to the other gazelles? Did you see how close? Right? That's not what animals do. After about 20 minutes, an animal will literally like shake it off and shiver and just, in other words, allow the remainder of the adrenaline, your super, human or animal fuel, as the case may be, to dissipate from the body. And then it just quietly goes back to grazing or to drinking water. It's not constantly looking over its shoulder going, oh, is there another lion there? I don't know if there's another lion there. No, we humans do that, right? So we keep ourselves in trauma mode. So when we are like the animals and we are able to shift out of trauma mode, that is when we move into rest and digest and heal. So the rest part is, sleep, right? You can't sleep when you are under stress, and you don't want to be, because right, that is not the time to sleep if somebody or something could be coming after you, right? So many people find that their sleep is impacted. Digest, right? Again, if you're fighting for your life, that's not the time to have your resources going to eating your last meal or digesting your last meal. So your digestion may be off. You may find that, there's like bloating or diarrhea or constipation, or you may be eating tons, especially comfort food or comfort drink, and yet it's like your body is starving for nutrition because it's not being absorbed and used properly. That's the digest part. And the third part of that is healing. In other words, you cannot heal physically, mentally, emotionally, and I'll throw in there spiritually and energetically, when you are stuck in survival mode or trauma mode. So literally, it's like one of those old-fashioned switches, kind of like, I always think of like a train track, how they had like the switches that they had to throw so that a train could go in a different direction, right? And throw it the other way to make the train go, you literally see the train track go this way so that the train could move off, right? So we literally have to throw the switch, and it can be so stuck, right? After years and years and years of being stuck in trauma mode and survival mode, it can be pretty rusty. It can be pretty rusty. So we kind of have to like, bring it back. And so the SOS tools that we teach at the Institute are designed to be simple, easy, powerful. And why is it so important that they be simple and easy? Because let's face it, when you're already overwhelmed and you're fighting for your life virtually or physically, that's not the time to give you a complicated thing. That's actually the worst time in the world to meditate. So if you ever have anyone say, just go relax, go meditate for an hour, you'll feel so much better. What's going to happen if you are in survival mode or trauma mode? Well, depending, if your hardwired stress response is fight mode, you're just going to be like, don't tell me what to do. Like you just want to slug them, right? Like, so don't tell me to relax. That's like the last thing I want to do right now. I need to move. I need to do. Don't tell me to sit and quiet my mind. If you are the worry wart, right? In other words, if you are paralyzed with worry and your mind's going a mile a minute, right? With that monkey mind chatter of the what if, how are things going to go badly? Right? Somebody tells you to meditate and calm your mind, you'll be like, so, right? So you might want to meditate, but you'll just end up getting more frustrated because you'll be like, I can't. It's just like, I can't stop the thoughts, right? Or maybe you go into faint mode, right? Which is, I try to meditate and I fall asleep every single time, right? In other words, that is the worst time. And I have been a meditation instructor for over 30 years. And I always tell people, unless you are a meditating guru, And it is second nature to you because you've been doing it for decades. When you are in survival mode, that is the last thing that you should attempt doing, which is why it's so important to do these SOS tools first. The beautiful thing is it can take seconds. It doesn't have to take hours, even a lot of minutes. And the neurology behind it is that every single one of our tools, and I'm just going to teach like 3 very short, simple ones today. Every single tool is designed to ramp up, like turn on your rest and digest and heal nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, as well as calm the alarms that are going off in your amygdala, which is like your 5-alarm emotion center, right? And it calms your brain. So if you looked on EEG, your brain scan, when you are in survival mode, you're literally in high beta, which is like, and it can look like a perfect storm on EEG. Like literally, it's like you see like everything's just like, right? Everything is firing at random, literally like a perfect storm. Imagine like a severe storm of lightning going off everywhere around you, and you're like right in the middle of it, right? So all of these tools are designed to calm your brain waves from high beta state and calming them down into alpha, which is your relaxed state, which is your creative state. Okay, so in which case your brain starts, the left and the right starts working together. It's slower and it's coordinated, and you can all of a sudden start focusing again. You can start thinking logically and creatively and making good decisions and acting on those decisions, and you're not flying off the handle or crying at the drop of a hat like you might have been before. That is the power of these SOS tools. So I just realized I've been talking a really long time. Any questions, Celeste?
We're just really excited to see these tools in action and love that such simple tools can have such a great shift, and appreciate that we can kind of see what's happening in our brain beforehand. And certainly you don't hear every day. The meditation is not the first step when you're in a state of aroused panic, we'll say, and that part of your brain that's really scrambling. So walk us through, what are these steps? How do we do the 3 SOS? I'm really excited for everybody to get these tools.
Thank you. I just took a breath there. As I said, I get so passionate about this, right? There's so many, and yet it's always best to start with the simplest, the easiest, and the fastest. And the fastest and easiest to learn is like, it all starts with your breath. And we've been told that before, right? Like, so when you're stressed or in trauma mode, you're like, and your shoulders are up around your ears, right? And you're clenched, right? So you're not breathing effectively. So you may have already learned that the importance of breathing, and there's a tweak to it. And that is, like, so many people will say box breathing, or they'll say like long, slow in breath, long, slow out breath. And here's a neurological tweak. And that is, when you breathe in, that is actually stimulating your sympathetic nervous system. Your heart rate will actually speed up. So it's stimulating your survival nervous system. And when you breathe out, that stimulates your parasympathetic. Now, we can't get away from it. We got to breathe. We got to breathe in, right? Oxygen is always good. And if you breathe into the count of 3 and out to the count of 3, you're kind of neutralizing them. So what we want to do is, you still want to breathe in deeply, especially breathing into your tummy, not feeling any motion here, right?
Yes.
So say that takes 3 seconds. Hold your breath for 3 seconds. because that also stimulates your parasympathetic. And then breathe out and take as long as you can. In the beginning, because you're so used to breathing up here, you may find that you get to count to 3 and you're like, right? But as you get used to this, breathing in and hold, and exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as long as you can, right? And then little pause at the end. Not trying so hard, just a natural pause. Again, because that stimulates your rest and digest before breathing in again. The next SOS tool, I'm going to add in on top of this, right? There's layers. And that is, there's a very special nerve called your vagus nerve that is the primary nerve in your body for the parasympathetic nervous system. And it's what controls your digestion. And basically it innervates like just about almost all of your innards, right? It also innervates your voice box. So when you hum or when you sing, you are actually activating your vagus nerve and your rest and digest and healing mode. So you can do this by humming. There's like, what's that song? Hum a Happy Tune? Was that from Snow White? Right? Humming, singing, but try and stick to happy songs. Not much as there's so many great country songs out there, right? But it's like, you don't want to be singing a song that where you lost your dog, you lost your car, you lost your wife, you lost your house, you lost everything, right? As great as they are. I love the Eagles, and there's hardly any of their songs that are positive, like purely positive. So it's creating a playlist of positive, uplifting songs, like high energy, like let's get it started in here, right? Something like that. It doesn't have to be the whole song. Just create this playlist so that you're listening to it, you're singing along to it. And when you are breathing, going back to that breathing, instead of just breathing it out, hum it out whenever possible. So breathing in and hold and hum as long as you can, and then pause. And then, so you're literally layering on the effects of it. And the humming has also that soothing sensation, right? That soothing sensation of, I'm safe, right?
Absolutely. And the vibration, right?
The vibration. Yes.
Yeah.
Even though, and one of our experts that I've interviewed for this, Dr. Navaz Habib, has written a whole book on the vagus nerve, and he and I had this discussion as we're interviewing for this summit. While nothing has been shown, like as far as tones, he and I had the discussion, I think in the green room, where we were like, okay, so when you are humming like in a lower tone, you can literally feel it vibrating your chest. So you can say that you are literally massaging your heart, right? You can feel the vibration in your chest versus up here, kind of sounds more annoying, right? So that's second layer. Third layer is smile while you're doing it, even if you don't feel like it. Smile. I have clients who do this with their family. They have a saying, stick a pen or a pencil in it. Why? Because it literally forces you into a smile. And not only does it seem kind of so you end up laughing anyway, and everyone else around you, but literally neurophysiologically, by engaging the smile muscles, which is what putting a pen or pencil in your mouth if you really feel like you can't just do it on your own. What that does is it sends the message up the nerves to the brain, and the brain goes, oh, she must be happy. I'm going to release more serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter. So literally, it's not fake it till you make it. It literally is that your actions are creating your feelings. So by smiling, even when you don't initially feel like it, it's literally sending the message to the brain, give me more of the feel-good neurotransmitter. So then that reinforces it a bit. Then it becomes a little easier to smile, and that reinforces it. It becomes a little easier to smile, right? And actually feel like you mean it, right? So are these 100% going to work every single time? Maybe not in the beginning, right? Because we are so hardwired for that negativity and that survival switch, like the switch has been shifted into survival mode, and it's like rusted there, right? So it may take a bit, and we have way more SOS tools beyond this. And for the purposes of this, wanted to start with something that was fast, easy, and powerful. So practice these three and stay tuned for even more.
Love it. Okay, so that deep belly, full, slow breathing in and out. Love learning that the out is especially important, and holding. And then add to that the hum. Love that too. Easy to do. And I can see the reasoning. And then we're going to add that final smile to it. I think that's actually why I smile so much. I have seen it be helpful. I do see it shift. And from the time I was a little girl, I watched someone that had the crow's feet, but to me, it was like you could see his smile go all the way to his eyes. So I wanted smiles I wanted my eyes to twinkle with smiles all the time. So I worked with my smile to work towards that day, not knowing that it was anything else. So to me, these are not wrinkles, they're twinkles. And who would have guessed that that habit would actually be part of our healing and wellness? I'm so grateful you shared this with all of us today.
It was my pleasure. And I look forward to teaching our audience even more.
It's going to be so fun. And I love how easy they are. Looking forward to sharing, hearing from all the interviews, hearing from all the experts, and diving in, and for everybody to say how they're working for them. Really excited we get to do this together.